What's up, my guys? Welcome back to the Wrestling Report Card. We're going to be going over the latest episode of AEW Dynamite that took place last night on June 1st. And let me tell you, this was a crazy episode because you had all the fallout from AEW's latest pay-per-view called Double or Nothing. Okay, first things first. If y'all do not know who MJF is, even if you don't watch wrestling, go look him up because he just dropped the best wrestling promo I've heard in damn near 10 years. And he did it on the owner of AEW, Tony Khan. So, I mean, that was pretty crazy. We'll get a little bit more into that later. And not only do we got that to look forward to, we have our brand new AEW Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk, in action. You also got the return, long-awaited return of my guy Miro. He's back in action. Some of y'all may know him as Rusev. You add in a 10-man tag team match, some Chris Jericho nonsense, and a banger main event featuring my guy John Moxley, and you got yourself a hell of an episode of Dynamite. So, without further ado, buckle up your street belts, and let's get to grading. So, in our opening match, as mentioned, we got the new heavyweight champ, CM Punk, in action. He's teaming up with FTR. They're taking on Max Caster from the Acclaimed and the Ass Boys. Yes, their name is actually the Ass Boys. God, I hope I don't have to say Ass Boys that many more times in this video. So a little backstory on how they got their name. There was a guy named Billy Gunn. He used to be around like in the late 90s, early 2000s. After his time with New Age Outlaws, he got dubbed the nickname Mr. Ass. Well, fast forward 20 years later, his sons are in AEW, and then they have got termed the nickname Ass Boys. So enough about the Ass Boys. Let's get on into the match. FTR starts the match, whooping up on said Ass Boys before our new champ CM Punk and the Acclaimed's Max Caster ended up tagging in. Punk and FTR ended up setting Caster up for a beautiful Avalanche Power Slam. Once Dax Harwood got tagged in, the Acclaimed Ass Boys, that's going to be their new name now, took control with a little help from a right hand courtesy of Billy Gunn. After an Ass Boy ass whooping, Max Caster got a little too cocky by trying to hit Dax with the sharpshooter. That allowed Dax to reach over and tag in the champ, CM Punk, who was coming in on a hot tag and was hitting anything moving in the ring. After hitting a beautiful elbow drop, Billy Gunn again tried to cause a distraction. But that backfired because as his son went to hit his move, the Famouser, CM Punk caught him mid-air and then literally just tossed him back into his dad. Like, thanks for stopping by, gon' get. That then set Punk up to hit the go to sleep, followed by FTR hitting their finisher, the Big Red, which allowed the champ to make the cover and get the 1-2-3. If I'm going to sit there and grade that opening match, I'm going to give it a B-. Now, what happened after the match ended up being really, really cool. But the match itself, to me, let's just say it wasn't CM Punk's best in-ring action. But he did just come off competing at a pay-per-view on Sunday in a grueling match to win the AEW World title, so you can't blame him too much. Speaking of pay-per-views, we've got one coming up called The Forbidden Door. Now, this is a joint pay-per-view between AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling, where they're basically going to line up and see who the better promotion is. So CM Punk, being AEW's champion, he grabs the mic and says, hey, I hear there's a guy in the back from New Japan wanting to call me out. Let's go ahead and send him out. Now, to everybody's surprise, it ended up being none other than Tanahashi. Now, if y'all don't know who Tanahashi is, go do your research because this dude, no cap, is one of the best in-ring workers in the world. I'm not going to lie, I still need to do a little bit more research myself, but from what I've seen so far, this dude is no joke. So this, of course, has the crowd buzzing right now. And what better way to keep that energy up than by bringing out MJF? Yes, this was the segment I was telling y'all about in the intro. So real quick, let's jump over to real life. MJF is upset because he's stuck in his rookie contract that doesn't expire till the start of 2024. And everyone will tell you, including him, that he has more than outperformed his contract. And it's no secret that he wants more money and he don't want to wait till 2024 to get it. He wants that big payday now. To prove his point, MJF did the unthinkable and no-showed a meet and greet that hundreds of fans paid for this past weekend before Double or Nothing. So yeah, obviously he's getting some heat going. Now, let's get back to last night. He comes to the ring, obviously, to a roar of boos from the crowd. And let me tell you one thing, MJF is the only man in professional wrestling that can have a crowd go from booing and chanting "shut the F up" at him to cheering him and then back to booing him all within around about 90 seconds, okay? Now, one other thing too, MJF, by doing all of this, whether it is a work or a shoot, none of us know right now how much it is of both of those, but he is solidifying his spot. He even goes on to say that he doesn't even want to be in AEW anymore. He said he's tired of being taken for granted, not only by the fans, but by the owner, Tony Khan, as well. He then does another unthinkable. He calls out Tony Khan, saying that he uses all of his money to pay ex-WWE guys instead of paying guys like himself who are homegrown. Yeah, he went that far. He ends this promo by yelling at Tony Khan to fire him. I believe the correct words were, because he did actually get bleeped. He said, "Fire me, you effing mark." Then AEW, at the end of all of this, cut his mic off to where MJF couldn't even talk anymore. Boy, I tell you what, that gave me mega CM Punk pipe bomb vibes. And if I'm going to sit there and grade that, I'm giving it an A+. Like, there's no way around it. You know it's a great promo when it gets you up out of your seat multiple times. Well, anyways, we get that wrapped up. We go into our next match where we got Johnny Elite, a.k.a. Johnny Drip Drip. He's issuing his AEW Open Challenge. Now, the guy that answers it today happens to be none other than the returning Miro. Also, you may know him as Rusev from the WWE. So my guy gets back in today, and let me tell you one thing about Mr. Johnny Elite's workday today. My guy got in his car this morning, he drove to work, he clocked in. After he clocked in, he basically just got his ass whooped for his entire shift. That's right. After Miro got done pummeling this man, he put him in his finishing submission, and he got the win in his return match in AEW. So if I'm going to sit there and grade that, I'm giving it a C+. Like, of course, I'm happy that Miro got his win in his return. But I'm not too thrilled that Johnny Elite is now 0-2 in his first two matches on TV in AEW. But I can't sit there and dwell on that for too long, because right when we got done with that, we go straight into our next segment with the Jericho Appreciation Society. Now, this promo starts off with these guys taking a little jab over at Roman Reigns in WWE. And you know the Tribal Chief ain't going to take too kindly to that. Jericho then takes over and he starts running his mouth. He's running his mouth until William Regal and a heated Eddie Kingston show up. They proceeded to call out Jericho and his group in none other than a blood and guts match. You know how those are. Those are so lit. Jericho then sends his cronies to jump Eddie Kingston. As he was doing that, though, he didn't notice that Ortiz had snuck behind him, and then Ortiz proceeded to lay out Jericho. Not only did he lay him out, he pulled out a pair of scissors and then cut Chris Jericho's hair. That's right. So now, Chris Jericho's obviously pissed off. Not only did he agree to blood and guts, but he then called out Ortiz to a hair versus hair match. It's going down. Now, I'm going to grade that with a B-. Like, not only was it fun, but it sets us up with two matches that I think we can all look forward to. Now, if you thought that was chaotic, wait till we get into this 10-man tag team match, because you had the Undisputed Elite teaming up with Hikuleo. They were taking on Matt Hardy, Christian, Darby Allin, and the AEW Tag Team Champs Jurassic Express. Now, as an Attitude Era kid, it's still weird for me to see Matt Hardy teaming up with Christian. I don't know, maybe it's just me. But now in this match, it wasn't too long until shit started to hit the fan. You had Darby Allin and Jurassic Express just flying around. That was until the Young Bucks hit a huge super kick on the Christian. Then they proceeded to take flight. Now, once we came back from the commercial break, the big man Luchasaurus, he was starting to get on a roll. After a nice destroyer and chokeslam combo from the champs, we finally got the two big men in Luchasaurus and Hikuleo going at it. After they got done throwing down, Darby tagged in, and he was moving around like a cannonball just shot out of a cannon. Matt Hardy then came in, and then he just deleted the entire Undisputed Elite. Say that 5 times fast. I know you can't. After he got done doing that, the Young Bucks finally get up. They hit 4 or 97 straight super kicks. And then after that, them and Red Dragon both hit their finishers, the Meltzer Driver and Hilo, simultaneously. And then they made the cover, and then they got the 1, 2, 3, and the Undisputed Elite were the winners of this match. So yeah, I'm giving that a B plus. Like again, that's just another entertaining match that you cannot be mad about. So we get that wrapped up. Then we go to our next match. As you got my guy Wardlow, he's coming off his huge win at Double or Nothing over MJF. Well, tonight he's taking on JD Drake. One thing I like that AEW is continuing to do with Wardlow is giving him the Goldberg style entrances. Because let me tell you, that's a big son bitch, and they need to keep treating him as such. Now, JD Drake, on the other hand, that's a big son bitch too. But that didn't matter because Wardlow literally threw this man around like he was Hornswoggle. Now, once Wardlow got done doing that, he lowered the straps and he hit the Powerbomb Symphony. I mean, it was over. He made quick work of my guy JD Drake as he got the 1, 2, 3 after about 4 minutes. I'm going to give that one a C. Like, the match was just okay, but we do got to admit that's the right move for Wardlow going forward. So after we get that wrapped up, we go into our next match, which is the women's tag team match. You got Britt Baker teaming up with her girl, Jamie Hayter, as they're taking on Toni Storm and Ruby Soho. So in the beginning of this match, you got a lot of back and forth, a lot of movesets being hit by all of these ladies. You had Britt Baker take out all the ladies on the outside of the ring. They came back inside of the ring, and then her teammate, Jamie Hayter, did the same by taking out the other two women. And then you had Britt Baker go off as she hit a tiger suplex onto Ruby. After that, she went for her finisher, the lockjaw, but Ruby counters, and then Britt just settled for a swinging neck breaker instead. Even though after they hit all of that offense, it wasn't enough because out of nowhere, Ruby Soho hit Britt Baker with her Destination Unknown, and surprisingly, she got the 1, 2, 3 over the former champ. If I'm going to sit there and grade that, I'm going to give it a B minus. Like, no cap, that was great in-ring work by all four ladies. I'm just not a fan of Britt Baker running through the women's division in the Owen Hart tournament and then just taking an L the week after on Dynamite. But hey, maybe that's just me. So we get done with that, and then it's time for the main event. As you've got Jon Moxley, he's taking on Daniel Garcia. Now, as you know, both of these guys are going to be involved in that 5-on-5 blood and guts match. So, for our luck, we get blessed with both Chris Jericho and William Regal on commentary. Now, to no surprise, this was a very physical match. And it wasn't too long until Garcia actually had Moxley bleeding from his head, where Mox had those 7 stitches put in after Sunday. Now, we get back from commercial break, and I mean Moxley is just covered in blood. But he mustn't have been too bad off because he sent Garcia just flying into the stairs. And then he followed that up with an avalanche suplex. Now, both guys get back into the ring, and they just start going submission after submission. Then they go back to trading suplexes before Garcia hit him with a nice power driver. And I thought it was over, but Mox kicked out at the last possible second. Now, as Moxley starts getting the upper hand, of course, here comes Chris Jericho running up to the ring. Now, he tried to give a distraction for Garcia, but that backfires. As Mox counters the roll-up, he hits the paradigm shift, and then he applied his Bulldog choke, and of course, he got the W over Daniel Garcia. So for that main event, I'm going to give it a B. Personally, I thought it was a great match, but we could have done without that run-in at the end. Like, that does tend to happen a lot in AEW, but I'm not judging too much. You know, hey, we all got our faults. With that being said, y'all know the drill. We got all the grades in. Now let's take a look at the report card. After tallying everything up, we came out with a final letter grade of a B. That's right, an 84%. Again, what a great episode of Dynamite. Hey, I think everybody that does still tune in, guys, keep a check out for the retro report cards. Hey, I'm going to be back Sunday for Hell in a Cell, so y'all stay tuned for that. As y'all know, everybody be safe and have a nice day.